It often begins so quietly that most gardeners don't notice the warning signs. One morning, your tomato leaves appear slightly curled. A few days later, the tender new shoots seem sticky. Tiny green insects gather beneath the leaves, while long trails of ants climb every stem with surprising determination. At first, it doesn't look like a serious problem, but hidden within this tiny invasion is one of nature's oldest partnerships. Aphids and ants are working together. The aphids feed on the sap inside your plants, weakening them day after day. In return, they produce a sugary liquid called honeydew. Ants love this sweet food so much that they actually protect the aphids from predators, almost like farmers protecting livestock. As this partnership grows stronger, your vegetables become weaker. Leaves curl, flowers drop, growth slows, harvests shrink. Fortunately, experienced gardeners discovered long ago that there is a better way than relying on harsh chemicals. By working with nature instead of against it, they keep aphids under control while creating healthier gardens that thrive year after year. Today, you'll discover 7 natural secrets that have helped generations of gardeners protect their plants without harming the ecosystem. Let's begin with the first, and perhaps the most powerful, secret of all. Most people think ants simply happen to be walking across the plants. In reality, they are there for a very specific reason. As aphids feed on plant sap, they release tiny droplets of honeydew, a sweet liquid rich in sugars. To ants, this is an irresistible food source. They gently touch the aphids with their antennae, encouraging them to release more honeydew. Then, in return for this constant supply of food, the ants defend the aphids from natural predators such as ladybugs, lacewings, and hoverfly larvae. Some ants even carry aphids to fresh shoots when the old ones become exhausted. The longer this partnership continues, the larger the aphid population becomes. Understanding this hidden relationship is the first step toward breaking it naturally. Many beginner gardeners make the same mistake. The moment they spot aphids, they reach for a bottle of insecticide. It seems like the quickest solution, but it often creates a bigger problem. Chemical sprays don't just eliminate aphids, they also kill the beneficial insects that naturally protect your garden. Once those helpful predators disappear, aphids often return in even greater numbers, leaving your plants more vulnerable than before. Experienced gardeners take a different approach. Instead of fighting nature, they recruit nature's own pest control team. One of the most effective allies is the ladybug. Both adult ladybugs and their larvae are voracious predators, feeding on dozens of aphids every single day. A healthy population of ladybugs can dramatically reduce an infestation without harming your plants. Another remarkable hunter is the green lacewing. Its larvae, often called aphid lions, quietly crawl through dense colonies, consuming hundreds of aphids before reaching adulthood. Hoverflies provide another valuable service. While the adults feed peacefully on flower nectar, their larvae become efficient predators, searching beneath leaves where aphids often hide. The secret is simple: give these beneficial insects a reason to stay. Plant nectar-rich flowers such as dill, fennel, calendula, sweet alyssum, yarrow, and cosmos around your vegetables. These flowers provide food, shelter, and breeding areas, transforming your garden into a welcoming habitat for natural predators. As their populations grow, aphids lose their greatest advantage. Instead of constant outbreaks, your garden begins to find its natural balance. This method may take a little more patience than spraying chemicals, but the rewards last much longer. A healthy garden is never silent. It's alive with pollinators, predators, and countless tiny creatures working together to keep your plants thriving. When aphids suddenly appear, it's tempting to solve the problem as quickly as possible with a chemical spray. At first, it seems successful. Within hours, many aphids are gone. But something else disappears too. Ladybugs, lacewings, hoverflies, tiny parasitic wasps, even many harmless insects that play important roles in your garden. Without these natural predators, the garden loses its first line of defense. Any aphids that survive, or new ones blown in by the wind, can reproduce without interruption. Since a single female aphid can give birth to dozens of young without even mating, populations can explode in just a matter of days. This is why many gardeners notice that aphids return again and again after spraying. The treatment removes the symptoms, but it also removes nature's own pest control system. Experienced gardeners understand that the healthiest gardens are not insect-free. They're balanced. Among all beneficial insects, few are as beloved as the ladybug. Its bright red shell may look delicate, but this tiny beetle is an incredibly efficient predator. An adult ladybug spends much of its life searching for aphids. Once it finds a colony, it begins feeding almost immediately. Even more impressive are the ladybug larvae. They may not be as attractive as the adults, but they are relentless hunters, consuming large numbers of aphids before transforming into mature beetles. Every ladybug that lives in your garden becomes a natural defender of your vegetables, herbs, and flowers. Instead of poisoning pests, it quietly restores balance one aphid at a time. Ladybugs aren't working alone. Many other beneficial insects patrol the garden every day. Green lacewing larvae are often called aphid lions because of their enormous appetite. Although they're only a few millimeters long, they can consume hundreds of aphids during their development. Hoverflies also deserve a place in every garden. The adults resemble tiny bees as they hover among flowers, collecting nectar and pollen. Their larvae, however, spend their days hunting soft-bodied insects hidden beneath leaves. Together, these predators create a natural defense system that works around the clock. When gardeners encourage biodiversity, pest outbreaks become far less common. Beneficial insects won't stay if your garden offers only vegetables. They also need nectar, pollen, fresh water, and safe places to rest. That's why experienced gardeners surround their crops with flowering herbs and native plants. Dill, fennel, calendula, sweet alyssum, yarrow, cosmos. These flowers bloom over long periods, providing a reliable food source throughout the season. As more beneficial insects settle into your garden, they begin reproducing naturally. Year after year, your garden becomes more resilient. Instead of constantly battling pests, you create an ecosystem that quietly protects itself. And that is the true secret behind every thriving organic garden. Not every aphid infestation requires expensive products or harsh chemicals. In fact, one of the oldest gardening remedies can be made from ingredients that many people already have at home. Gardeners have trusted simple soap sprays for generations because they work through physical contact rather than poisonous chemicals. When the solution coats the aphids, it breaks down the protective outer layer of their soft bodies, causing them to dehydrate naturally. Unlike many commercial insecticides, a properly diluted soap spray leaves no long-lasting toxic residue in the garden. But there's one important rule. The mixture must be gentle. Too much soap can damage the very plants you're trying to protect. That's why experienced gardeners always use mild liquid soap and dilute it carefully before spraying. Aphids survive because their tiny bodies are protected by a delicate outer coating. When diluted soap comes into direct contact with them, that protective layer begins to break apart. Without it, the insects lose moisture and quickly dehydrate. This is why soap spray only works when it actually touches the aphids. It doesn't continue killing insects after it dries. That's good news for your garden, because once the spray has dried, beneficial insects that arrive later are far less likely to be affected. This makes soap spray a much more targeted solution than broad-spectrum pesticides. Timing makes all the difference. Experienced gardeners never spray during the hottest part of the day. Strong sunlight combined with wet leaves can sometimes cause leaf scorch. Instead, they spray early in the morning or late in the afternoon when temperatures are cooler. They pay special attention to the undersides of leaves, where aphids often gather unnoticed. Rather than soaking the entire plant, they focus directly on the colonies. After a few days, they inspect the plant again. If necessary, they repeat the treatment until the aphid population begins to disappear. Patience and consistency almost always produce better results than aggressive spraying. But when combined with healthy soil, companion planting, and beneficial insects, it becomes part of a much larger strategy. Every successful organic garden depends on layers of natural protection working together. Instead of trying to eliminate every insect, experienced gardeners focus on restoring balance. The result isn't just fewer aphids, it's healthier plants, more flowers, stronger harvests, and a garden that becomes more resilient with every season. The next secret builds on this idea even further, because some plants naturally repel aphids before they ever become a problem. One of the smartest gardening secrets isn't about spraying at all, it's about choosing the right neighbors. Some plants naturally produce aromatic oils that confuse or repel aphids before they settle on your vegetables. Instead of creating a garden filled with only tomatoes or peppers, experienced gardeners mix herbs, flowers, and vegetables together. This practice is known as companion planting. The result is a healthier, more diverse garden that's much harder for pests to invade. Nature rarely grows a single plant all by itself, and perhaps our gardens shouldn't either.
Marigolds are far more than cheerful flowers. For generations, gardeners have planted them around vegetable beds because of their strong scent and vibrant blooms. While marigolds won't eliminate every aphid, they help create a garden that's less attractive to many unwanted pests. At the same time, their bright flowers attract bees, hoverflies, and other beneficial insects that strengthen your garden's natural defenses. Plant them along pathways, around tomato beds, or between rows of vegetables. Their beauty is only part of their value. Many culinary herbs offer more than wonderful flavors. Their strong aromas can help disguise the scent of nearby vegetables, making it harder for aphids to locate their favorite plants. Basil is one of the most popular companions for tomatoes. Garlic has been treasured in gardens for centuries, and chives add beauty while supporting biodiversity. Together, these fragrant plants create a more complex environment, one that's much less inviting to aphids. At the same time, they provide fresh ingredients for your kitchen. It's a perfect example of a garden that works smarter, not harder. The healthiest gardens rarely rely on a single solution. Instead, they combine many natural strategies: healthy soil, companion planting, beneficial insects, careful watering, gentle treatments when necessary. Each layer strengthens the next. Over time, your garden becomes more resilient. Pests still appear from time to time, but they rarely gain complete control, because a diverse garden is a balanced garden, and balance is nature's greatest defense. Many gardeners spend weeks trying to eliminate aphids without realizing they're attacking the wrong target. The real problem isn't always the aphids. It's the ants protecting them. Think of aphids as livestock. The ants act like farmers. They guard the colonies, drive away predators, and even carry aphids to fresh, tender shoots where they can continue feeding. As long as the ants remain, aphids receive constant protection. But once the ants are removed from the equation, nature quickly begins to restore balance. Ladybugs return. Lacewings move in. Hoverfly larvae finally reach the aphid colonies. Sometimes, the fastest way to reduce aphids is simply to interrupt the ants' daily journey. Before taking action, spend a few minutes simply observing. Watch where the ants travel. Most of them follow the same routes every day, climbing fence posts, stakes, tree trunks, or sturdy plant stems. These trails are guided by invisible chemical signals called pheromones. Each ant strengthens the trail for the next one. The longer the trail remains undisturbed, the more ants continue using it. Finding these busy pathways helps you understand exactly where the partnership begins. Observation is often the first tool of every successful gardener. Once you've identified the ant highway, it's time to interrupt it. Many experienced gardeners place simple physical barriers around tree trunks, raised bed supports, or plant stakes. Sticky garden barriers can prevent ants from climbing without harming the plants themselves. Others wrap trunks with protective bands designed specifically to block crawling insects. The goal isn't to eliminate every ant in your garden. It's simply to prevent them from reaching the aphids. Without constant protection, aphid colonies become easy targets for their natural predators. Sometimes, the smallest obstacle creates the biggest difference. Once the ants disappear, something remarkable begins to happen. Ladybugs arrive without being chased away. Lacewing larvae quietly move through the colonies. Hoverfly larvae begin feeding beneath the leaves. Within days, the balance starts to shift. Instead of protecting the aphids, the garden begins protecting itself. This is why experienced gardeners focus on restoring natural relationships rather than trying to control every insect. Nature already knows how to solve the problem. Sometimes it simply needs a little help. Have you ever noticed that aphids seem to attack certain plants while leaving others almost untouched? That's no coincidence. Aphids are opportunists. They're naturally attracted to weak, stressed, or overly tender plants because these plants are easier to feed on. When a plant receives the right amount of water, nutrients, and sunlight, it develops stronger stems, thicker leaves, and healthier sap flow. These natural defenses make it much harder for large aphid colonies to become established. Experienced gardeners know they aren't just growing vegetables. They're building resilient plants. And resilient plants are always the first line of defense against pests. One of the most common gardening mistakes is watering too often. Frequent shallow watering encourages roots to stay close to the surface, where the soil dries quickly and plants become stressed. Instead, experienced gardeners water deeply and less often. Deep watering encourages roots to grow downward in search of moisture. As the root system expands, the entire plant becomes stronger and more resilient during hot weather. A strong root system supports healthy leaves, vigorous growth, and greater resistance to pest attacks. Healthy roots create healthy plants, and healthy plants naturally cope with aphids much more effectively. Healthy gardens begin beneath the surface. Rich soil is filled with earthworms, beneficial fungi, helpful bacteria, and countless microorganisms working together every day. These invisible partners break down organic matter and release nutrients slowly, allowing plants to grow steadily without producing the soft, vulnerable growth that aphids love. Instead of relying entirely on synthetic fertilizers, experienced gardeners enrich their soil with compost, leaf mold, and other natural organic materials. When the soil is alive, the plants become stronger. And when plants become stronger, pests become far less successful. Healthy soil is the foundation of every thriving garden. Many people believe successful gardening means constantly solving problems. Experienced gardeners see it differently. They focus on preventing problems before they begin. Healthy soil, deep roots, balanced watering, companion planting, beneficial insects. Each practice strengthens the next. Together, they create a garden that naturally resists pests, recovers quickly from stress, and continues producing healthy harvests throughout the season. The strongest gardens aren't built overnight. They're built one healthy habit at a time. And the next secret may be the easiest habit of all. One of the biggest mistakes gardeners make is waiting until they can see hundreds of aphids. By then, the colony has already been feeding for days, sometimes even weeks. Experienced gardeners know that early detection is everything. Instead of glancing at their plants from a distance, they spend a few minutes each week inspecting the newest growth. Young shoots, fresh flower buds, the undersides of leaves. These tender parts are the first places aphids choose because they're packed with nutrient-rich sap. Finding just a handful of aphids today can prevent thousands from appearing next week. A few minutes of careful observation often saves hours of work later. If you find only a few aphids, don't wait. Small colonies are much easier to control than large infestations. Sometimes, simply pinching off a heavily infested leaf is enough to stop the problem from spreading. Dispose of the damaged leaves away from the garden rather than leaving them on the soil. This simple habit removes hundreds of aphids before they have a chance to reproduce. Think of it as pruning for the health of your entire garden. The sooner you act, the less work you'll have to do later. Aphids reproduce incredibly fast. That's why a single inspection isn't enough. Experienced gardeners make garden observation part of their regular routine. Every few days, they walk slowly through the garden. They examine new growth. Look beneath leaves. Watch for ants climbing stems. And pay close attention to any curled or sticky foliage. These small habits help catch problems before they become serious. The garden begins to tell its own story. All you have to do is learn how to read it. By now, you've probably noticed a common pattern. Every secret we've explored is built on prevention rather than reaction. Healthy soil, beneficial insects, companion planting, breaking ant trails, strong root systems, and regular observation. Together, These simple habits make it difficult for aphids to gain a foothold. Instead of fighting major infestations every season, you'll spend more time harvesting healthy vegetables and enjoying your garden. The final secret brings all of these ideas together into one lasting strategy. One of the biggest mistakes gardeners make is waiting until they can see hundreds of aphids. By then, the colony has already been feeding for days, sometimes even weeks. Experienced gardeners know that early detection is everything. Instead of glancing at their plants from a distance, they spend a few minutes each week inspecting the newest growth. Young shoots, fresh flower buds, the undersides of leaves. These tender parts are the first places aphids choose because they're packed with nutrient-rich sap. Finding just a handful of aphids today can prevent thousands from appearing next week. A few minutes of careful observation often saves hours of work later. If you find only a few aphids, don't wait. Small colonies are much easier to control than large infestations. Sometimes, simply pinching off a heavily infested leaf is enough to stop the problem from spreading. Dispose of the damaged leaves away from the garden rather than leaving them on the soil. This simple habit removes hundreds of aphids before they have a chance to reproduce. Think of it as pruning for the health of your entire garden. The sooner you act, the less work you'll have to do later. Aphids reproduce incredibly fast. That's why a single inspection isn't enough. Experienced gardeners make garden observation part of their regular routine. Every few days, they walk slowly through the garden. They examine new growth, look beneath leaves, watch for ants climbing stems, and pay close attention to any curled or sticky foliage. These small habits help catch problems before they become serious. The garden begins to tell its own story. All you have to do is learn how to read it. By now, you've probably noticed a common pattern. Every secret we've explored is built on prevention rather than reaction. Healthy soil, beneficial insects, companion planting, breaking ant trails, strong root systems, and regular observation. Together, these simple habits make it difficult for aphids to gain a foothold. Instead of fighting major infestations every season, you'll spend more time harvesting healthy vegetables and enjoying your garden. The final secret brings all of these ideas together into one lasting strategy. After learning all 6 natural secrets, you may have noticed something surprising. None of them promise to eliminate every insect. And that's exactly the point. The healthiest gardens are never completely free of insects. Instead, they're full of life. Bees pollinate flowers. Ladybugs hunt aphids. Earthworms improve the soil. Fungi feed the roots. Birds help control insect populations. Every living creature plays a role. Experienced gardeners don't try to control nature. They learn to work with it. When balance replaces constant intervention, the garden becomes stronger with every passing season. Successful gardening isn't built on one miracle product. It's built on small habits repeated consistently. Watching your plants closely, watering wisely, improving your soil, growing companion flowers, welcoming beneficial insects, breaking ant trails before they become highways, and acting early whenever you spot the first signs of aphids. Individually, each habit may seem small. Together, they create a garden that's healthier, more productive, and naturally resistant to pests. That's the real secret behind experienced gardeners. Not perfection, consistency. The next time you notice aphids gathering beneath your leaves or ants marching across your plants, remember this. Nature has already provided the solution. Healthy soil, strong plants, beneficial insects, companion flowers, careful observation, and a balanced ecosystem. These simple methods have helped gardeners protect their harvest for generations. With a little patience and consistency, they can help your garden thrive too. Sometimes, the best way to fight pests isn't by using stronger chemicals. It's by building a stronger garden.